Most people use the words psychopath and sociopath as if they mean exactly the same thing. Movies, TV shows, and social media often portray both as cold-blooded villains who don't care about anyone. But while psychopaths and sociopaths share many similarities, they are not exactly the same. So what's the difference? Let's find out. First, it's important to understand that neither psychopath nor sociopath is an official diagnosis in modern psychology. Instead, both terms are commonly used to describe people who display traits associated with antisocial personality disorder, also known as ASPD. People with these traits often struggle with empathy, guilt, honesty, and respect for social rules. But the way these traits appear can look very different from person to person. This is where the distinction between psychopaths and sociopaths usually comes in. Let's start with psychopaths. Psychopaths are often described as cold, calculated, and emotionally detached. They typically have a very limited ability to experience empathy. Many also show reduced fear responses compared to the average person. Because of this, psychopaths often remain calm in situations that would make most people nervous or anxious. One of the most interesting things about psychopaths is that they can appear completely normal. They may seem charming, intelligent, confident, and friendly. In fact, many people would never suspect anything unusual. Psychopaths are often skilled at manipulating others because they understand how emotions work, even if they don't genuinely feel them in the same way. They can study human behavior almost like a scientist studies a subject. As a result, they tend to be strategic and calculated. Rather than acting on impulse, they usually think ahead. Now let's look at sociopaths. Unlike psychopaths, sociopaths are often much more emotionally reactive. They tend to have stronger emotional outbursts and less self-control. They are more likely to become angry, frustrated, or aggressive when things don't go their way. Because of this, sociopaths often struggle to maintain a calm and controlled image. Their behavior can appear unpredictable. While psychopaths are usually known for being calculated, sociopaths are often known for being impulsive. They may make reckless decisions without considering the long-term consequences. Interestingly, sociopaths may still form emotional attachments to certain people. Although their empathy is limited, they sometimes develop strong bonds with friends, family members, or romantic partners. Psychopaths generally have a much harder time forming genuine emotional connections. So if both groups can lie, manipulate, and ignore social rules, what is the biggest difference? The biggest difference is often emotional control. Psychopaths tend to be colder, calmer, and more strategic. Sociopaths tend to be more emotional, impulsive, and unpredictable. Think of it like this. A psychopath might carefully plan a manipulation months in advance. A sociopath is more likely to react emotionally in the moment. Both can be harmful, but they often operate in very different ways. Another important misconception is that all psychopaths and sociopaths are violent criminals. This is simply not true. Most people with antisocial traits are not serial killers. Many never commit serious crimes at all. Some function surprisingly well in society. Others struggle with relationships, work, and social situations. The reality is far more complex than what movies usually show. Scientists are still studying why these differences exist. Research suggests that both genetics and environment play important roles. Some individuals may be born with certain traits that affect empathy, fear, and emotional processing. Others may develop antisocial behaviors after growing up in difficult or traumatic environments. In most cases, it's likely a combination of both. At the end of the day, psychopaths and sociopaths share many characteristics. Both can struggle with empathy, guilt, and concern for others. But psychopaths are generally more calculated and emotionally detached. Sociopaths are generally more impulsive and emotionally reactive. Understanding these differences helps us move beyond the stereotypes and see the psychology behind the labels. And while the terms are often used interchangeably, the distinction reveals something fascinating about how differently human minds can work.